Boom! What's up, everyone? Welcome to Simulation. I'm your host, Alan Saki. I'm really excited to be talking to you all about the life of an interlocutor. Woo! Pumped for this one. Pumped for this one for a multitude of reasons because I myself am an interlocutor and I'm excited to express to you what it has been like learning to become an interlocutor. And I think it's important to start with the definition. The easiest definition for an interlocutor is one who partakes in dialogue. That's it. As simple as that. One who partakes in dialogue. Move with that, roll with it, great. Let's do it. So just one who partakes in dialogue. So this can be on stages, this can be on a show, this can be on, you partaking in dialogue with your parents and your friends. But this is a very profession. To me, it's become a profession. So I literally do this every single day. So it's slightly different for me because it's become a profession in that sense. So, all right. There's a lot to unpack. I have some cool notes for us I'm excited to share with you. A really good analogy for being an interlocutor is playing tennis. And tennis is it's like mind tennis is what it is. So it's like hitting back ideas with new spin, doing things like steel manning. Let's explain a couple of these things. Okay, so for those that don't know, I'm Alan Saki and I host the show Simulation. And so we sit down with all these thought-provoking leaders and they're all from different fields. And so you have to be able to play really strong game of mind tennis back with them as you're hosting them on the show. And so I'll get to the reason why being a polymath and empath together and combining those two things is really important for building out this really strong mental lattice for being able to be a really good tennis player. And so hitting back ideas with new spin. So when you get sent over an idea, rather than just being binary with the idea or rather than just moving on to the next thing or not even asking them a question about it. So you have to know how to ask them a question when you get hit the tennis ball back. You may be, you get hit the tennis ball, you want to add an idea or a thought to it, send it back to them, and maybe you're even adding a question to it. And so by doing that process, you're actually really working on creating a very strong game of intellectual tennis between you two. And I really like that analogy. It's really fun. So another really crucial part is steel manning, and I have it highlighted up there right now. And steel manning, there's a pretty easy way to understand what it is. So I talked about this in the TEDx talk, and that link's in the bio as well, the TEDx talk on powerful questions that I gave 2 months ago. So a very easy way to understand steel manning is to first understand straw manning as well. So straw manning is when you take someone's idea and you misrepresent it so that you can easily beat it. A lot of people straw man nowadays. And steel manning is when you take someone's idea and you make it even better and you show to them that, hey, I'm listening to you, I'm paraphrasing your idea and making it even better. The person sees that you care and you're listening. And then furthermore, you can then aim to augment their perspective by saying, do you see how that doesn't work? Or do you see how it works? So it makes for better conversation when you steel man versus straw man. And then, so you got to really be able to calculate. You have to have very strong cognitive capabilities. So, and up to as much extent that we have. So basically, one of the ways to understand what intelligence is intelligence in many ways is one's ability to abstractly reason and calculate with tons of different variables at the same time and synthesize that through cognition into what comes out of our mouth into another person's mind, so into conversation. So that, in some regard, is the better you are at reasoning with all of those different abstract variables that calculate into a conversation with someone else, the more you are able to have a good game of tennis and be a stronger interlocutor with them. So develop out your mental lattice and make it really multidisciplinary and polymathic, and we'll get to that. And that way, again, is just a limitation right now. Soon it may not be a limitation because we will have the addition of neural laces connecting us to the infinite of knowledge, and then things change a lot. And you know our hesitations on that, ethical hesitations on that, we've talked about now on a couple of our episodes, but that will increase on our limited cognitive capabilities down the line. Okay, on we go to being a polymath and empath. This is extremely important. It may be the most important thing out of this entire conversation. I've been teaching it for a long time, a super long time. And so what I'm doing is I've been for the last 3 years now mentoring in Silicon Valley, mentoring entrepreneurs across different organizations, and shout out to organizations like IndieBio, the largest biotech accelerator in the world, or like Founder Institute, one of the largest founder accelerators in the world, and Draper University and Hacks and all these different orgs that I've had the chance to work with. And I'm telling you, if you become a polymath and empath, it helps you so much in life because you're building out a more robust and multidisciplinary mental lattice. So that way you can talk with anyone about anything almost. And on top of that, when you build out the empath side of things, you can really tap into another person's emotional state and be able to relate with them on a very deep level. And when you can relate to them, when you can ask them good questions and show them genuine care and love and eye contact, that whole process will amplify your ability to execute whatever you want into the world and build relationships, win friends, influence people. It will help you so freaking much. So smashing those two things together, a really multidisciplinary mental lattice and a really strong connection to other people's hearts. And knowing how to properly do that is so, so important. And I've been preaching this to entrepreneurs for the longest time now. And so build out your mental lattice. And this is extremely important. Parse for the greatest signal. Because this happens all the time. We too often accidentally go for what's noisy. And if you want to be an interlocutor, you got to go for the signal. If you want to be anything in this world, you got to go for the signal. Because the second that you follow the noise, you end up losing. Noise is the antithesis of execution. Noise is the antithesis of signal. It's so bad. And so parsing, again, applying the Pareto principle is so important here. So that means doing things like seeing that only 80% of all of the knowledge that exists in the world is noisy. And only 20% of the knowledge that exists in the world is actually signally. So that means things like when you're on Wikipedia, whatever is important to you about art or entrepreneurship or some sort of science or some sort of spirituality or whatever you're doing, you have to find the things that have the highest signal to noise and parse for those things and go learn from those disciplines and watch those content creators that have the most signal. And that's what we aim to do with this channel, is have the most signal and have the least noise. And we try our best to do that. This is ginger tea, by the way. It's so good. We just literally boiled ginger. It was so good. All right. So it's one thing that I noticed with the Hawthorne effect was that it was really hard to get people on board with vodcasting as an interlocutor. So people are totally willing to have conversations with you, but they're not necessarily willing to have those conversations with you when they are in front of a camera. And so I think that that's extremely interesting because it means that maybe they have some sort of an asymmetry going on in their life where they will not speak what they preach on camera, but they will in private settings, which I think is an asymmetry, and it may not actually be necessarily healthy. And so analyze people. Why are they not willing to go on with vodcasting? Well, I think people get a little bit weird with that. You have to get used to it. But once you get used to it, it becomes really easy. And plus, it's a big part of our future for many people. You have to know how to communicate in these different mediums, either video, either audio, or writing. So you have to get really good at one of those mediums. And So, even like you take a photo, you still have to like write about it. That's like, you got to get good at these different mediums. And this is something that, Gary Vaynerchuk's been teaching for a while. And I really like the way that he teaches about it. And, get really good at something, one of these mediums of communication. All right. Moving on to this part's also kind of interesting. If you look at someone like Joe Rogan, who's done vodcasting like a sport. He's become an interlocutor as a sport. He literally goes live multiple times a day, and he understands that content is king, and he's been doing it for 9 years now, and he's done, I think, 1,220 episodes or something. And that is absolutely nuts, because when that is mastery. That he is mastery. He is the definition of mastery in the interlocutor field. And there is a lot of other people that can work their butts off to aim to be mastery in the field as well. And I think that over time they will, because vodcasting is only growing and becoming better, but certain people only vodcast once a week, or some people only podcast with audio, or some people only write a blog, whatever. There's too many smart people on the planet so to be able to sit down with them more often and actually have long form, nuance driven conversations is extremely important. And that's what we aim to do. And so you got to publish as many of these thought-provoking podcasts as multidisciplinary leaders and public intellectuals on the planet. That's extremely important to us, and highlighting it right there for you to see. And provide as much signal as possible over all of the noise that's on the internet. That's such a crucial point for us, that it's just gotten so egregious. There's so much noise on the internet. So making as much signal as possible onto the internet is crucial. So post only the most interesting things that you can think of that will inspire other people in some way. It can be a picture of food. Say why it's interesting. Why is this food interesting? It can be a picture of something you made. Why is the thing you made interesting? Add lots of noise to the lots of signal to the interwebs, and parse through all of the information so you can find the greatest signal as well. So that's a little bit on the life of an interlocutor. Smash together being a polymath and being an empath. Smash those things together like it's no one's business. Get really damn good at having a strong multidisciplinary mental lattice, and also being able to get to people's hearts and showing them that genuine care and love, and getting really good at those two things, and play these amazing games of tennis with people and have fun as you have the opportunity to live these 80 years on this rock and advance to the next level. All right. Much love, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Give us your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, go check out the rest of the links in the bio. Give us a subscribe, follow us, give us a like on the video. And thank you, everyone. Go and manifest your destiny into the world. Go and build the future. You know how to do it. Actually, go execute. Put down the Netflix, put down the YouTube channel, put down the beer garden invitations from your friends, and go and build the future. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Peace.